You know, driving an 18-wheeler is hard work. It takes skill and it requires constant mental attention. It takes knowing what's what with your truck. And over the years, the job has become tougher. More and faster traffic, more complex regulations, more responsibility. But like everything else these days, technology is making some things easier. One of the things that is making driving a long-haul truck easier today is called GearMaster. And we're here to tell you about this exciting new instrument and why we can guarantee that it will make driving less stressful and safer for you and easier on the trucks you drive.
One of the most critical skills involved in driving large trucks is that of smoothly shifting gears. Hi, I'm Kent Price, and I'm one of the developers of GearMaster. We developed GearMaster to solve a major concern of truck drivers, making sure you hit the right gear at the right time every time.
The GearMaster is known as a gear availability and synchronization indicator. It's a continuous display of what gears are available to you and how you can synchronize your engine to any available gear. It graphically shows what goes on in your transmission, and it displays the relationship between engine speed, vehicle speed, and the various gears. It lets you know the exact timing to shift to your most efficient gear, and it keeps you from grinding or jamming your transmission. Let's take a quick look at how the GearMaster delivers all of this information. The GearMaster is actually a combination of several instruments. Now, first of all, it's a sophisticated and highly accurate tachometer. It gives a constant digital readout of the engine's RPM, as well as a graphic display of the RPM compared to both the full operating range of the engine and the best power range. See how that arrow slides back and forth across the bottom of the display? It's in direct proportion to the speed of the engine. The upper line is set to the full operating range of the engine from idle speed, for example 700 RPM, to the maximum governed speed, say 2000 RPM. Whenever the engine is running, that arrow will be somewhere within the range of this first line. The second line represents the so-called sweet spot. This is the RPM range where your engine develops its maximum torque, or where it is the most fuel efficient. Under normal conditions, driving in this range will yield the best power and fuel economy. You can set this line to any RPM range you desire, but you will normally use the engine manufacturer's recommendation. Either of these lines can be easily reprogrammed in a matter of seconds. On the right-hand side of the instrument is a digital speedometer. It shows the speed of the truck to the nearest mile per hour, or kilometer per hour. Because this data comes directly from the truck's electronic control module, this digital readout is actually more accurate than the speedometer on your dashboard. This means you can maintain precise maximum speeds as mandated by some fleets or by local speed laws. No more tickets for going 2 or 3 miles faster than you thought you were going. The GearMaster's heart is an internal computer. It continuously monitors both engine and vehicle speeds. It then positions the gear numbers across the top of the screen based on the current vehicle speed and a calibration factor for each gear. These numbers move to the right as vehicle speeds increase and to the left as you slow down. The result is that any numbers above the operating range line represent gears that are available to the driver at the current speed of the truck. This is the gear availability feature. The gear synchronization feature means that whenever the tachometer arrow is lined up under a gear number, the engine is perfectly synchronized with the vehicle speed for that gear, and the shift can be smoothly made, with or without the use of the clutch. Now let's take the GearMaster out on the road. The GearMaster display is typically located on top of the dash in full view of the driver, but in such a way that it will not obstruct the view of the road. With the engine idling, you can see that the digital tachometer reads 700 RPM and that the tachometer arrow is at the left end of the range line. As we fully engage the clutch in first gear, the number 1 appears above the arrow. When we shift into second gear, the number 2 appears above the arrow, and the number 1 has moved to the right. We go on through the gears with the number 3, number 4. We move the range lever into high range and continue through 5th gear, 6th gear. And by the way, the GearMaster can be used with any transmission with any number of gears up to 20. This truck is equipped with an Eaton Fuller 13-speed transmission, which has split or overdrive gears above the direct drive gears of 5 through 8. These overdrive or half gears would not be indicated with the 9 or 10-speed transmission. We now shift into 7 split or 7 overdrive, then to 8th, and finally to 8th overdrive, the highest gear in this truck. We can now see the gear availability feature of the GearMaster. As we're driving along at 24 miles per hour in 6th gear, we can see that it is possible to upshift into 7th gear or to downshift to 5th gear. But we cannot get into 8th gear or into 4th gear because they are not above the operating range line. With our truck traveling at 24 miles per hour, our engine simply will not go fast enough to match 4th gear or slow down enough to match 8th gear. The gear synchronization feature refers to the fact that whenever the tachometer arrow is lined up under a gear number, the engine is perfectly synchronized with the road speed for that gear, and the shift can be smoothly made with or without the use of the clutch. The GearMaster works equally well when double clutching or when floating. Now that you have seen how the GearMaster works, let's look at several driving situations where this amazing instrument can make your driving easier. One of the most valuable applications of the GearMaster is in gear recovery. Say you have missed a downshift and you need to quickly recover. One glance at the GearMaster will tell you what gears are available and how to match your engine speed to a target gear. Again, this shift can be made with or without the use of the clutch. Speaking of downshifting, the GearMaster will also show you if your intended gear is going out of range faster than you can hit it. Here, we would like to downshift into 2nd gear. Unfortunately, the vehicle gains speed too fast, and we see that we would miss 2nd gear. In this case, the best choice is to hit 3rd gear and then slow the truck down enough to get 2nd gear. Another example of downshifting is approaching a stop and being ready for an immediate start by pre-engaging your next gear. You simply glance at the gear numbers moving to the left. When your desired gear passes over the idling tach arrow, you drop it in gear, put in the clutch, and you're ready to go. This saves time and overuse of the clutch brake. The GearMaster can also tell you when you can skip a gear. Here again, we coast to a stop and pre-engage 3rd gear. As we accelerate in 3rd gear, we see that we have gained enough speed so that we can skip 4th gear and go directly into 5th gear. Sometimes when shifting into a new gear, you may slightly miss matching your engine speed to the gear. You will feel the gears bumping each other and you know you are close, but is your engine going too fast or too slow? One glance at the GearMaster tells you whether to give more throttle or less. As your tach arrow comes closer and closer to the gear, the bumping slows down and disappears. When the bumping is stopped, the gears are matched and it feels like you just fall into your gear. Here are some more examples using a truck with a 10-speed transmission. Synchronizing. Skipping gears in a downshift. Finding the lowest gear available for engine braking. Using the power range indication to stay in the most efficient gear. Here you would be tempted to downshift to 5th, but you can see that 6th is more efficient. Pre-engaging a gear prior to stopping. Sometimes a driver might leave the clutch engaged too long after a shift. The engine is no longer matched to the vehicle speed, and when the clutch is released, there is a violent jerk. This is not only uncomfortable, but can severely damage the clutch, transmission, and drivetrain of the truck. You can use the GearMaster to avoid this problem. As long as the tach arrow is lined up with the engaged gear, you can pump the clutch in and out with no jerking or strain on the vehicle. In this way, the GearMaster promotes much smoother shifting and driving. Finally, one of the most important applications of the GearMaster is in the improved fuel economy associated with progressive shifting, where shifts are made at lower RPM and overspeeding of the engine is avoided. The GearMaster promotes this technique by constantly indicating the ideal gear and showing to the second when the next shift should be made. Besides saving fuel and reducing maintenance, repair, and downtime costs, the GearMaster is a wonderful safety device. It enables a driver to keep eyes and attention on the road and on the driving environment without having to worry about making the next shift.
The GearMaster has made me a very lazy individual, because rather than feeling the gear, rather than doing what I do, being tuned in, I can just lie back there, look at the thing, going down the road. But when I get in a jam, in a situation in traffic where Joe Porsche cuts in front of you right when you're in the middle of a shift and nails the brakes, and you got to get on the brake, and now you knock down 10 miles an hour while you're in neutral, and now where do you go? Well, it's no big deal. I can find a gear and get on out of here. But in that second and a half that it takes me to shop for that gear, traffic's moving out. Now, by the time I get the clutch out and actually start accelerating, I'm behind the wave of traffic that's running off and leaving me, and you can't catch it. Whereas with the GearMaster, instead of shopping for that gear, I glance at the dashboard, I see immediately what gear I want and where it's at. There's no guesswork, no nothing. Step on the gas, slap it in the gear, I'm off, and I'm with traffic, staying with traffic. And those knuckleheads that I just spent the last 2 hours trying to get past stay behind me instead of going by me at the stoplight. And there's not an experienced driver on the road that doesn't know exactly what I'm talking about.
The GearMaster's location on top of the dashboard is very close to the driver's line of sight to the road. You don't have to stare at the GearMaster to get all the information you need. One split-second glance at the display gives you much more information in much less time than looking at your panel-mounted tachometer or speedometer. And it gives you this information as a visual image which you can immediately act on. No more formulas, mental calculations, or memorizing speeds and gears. The GearMaster installs into virtually any truck in mere minutes. It is as easy as connecting one cable and then mounting the display unit on the dash of the truck for easy viewing. Installation requires no tools or modifications to your truck. Calibrating the unit is just as easy. Simply take the truck for a drive and shift through each gear of your transmission. As you hit each gear, select the corresponding number on the GearMaster and push the Set button. Depending on the number of gears you have, this process should take only 2 or 3 minutes. Once the GearMaster has been calibrated, the GearMaster retains the data even if the unit is powered down, unplugged, or removed from the truck. There is never a need to recalibrate unless the unit is installed in a different truck with a different transmission. The GearMaster is designed and produced to the highest manufacturing standards. We have an unprecedented 3-year warranty covering complete parts and labor. We also offer a no-risk 60-day absolute satisfaction guarantee. If GearMaster doesn't meet your needs, you may send it back for an immediate and complete refund, including all shipping and handling. Rental, leasing, and financing options are available that will put the GearMaster in your truck for less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day. The GearMaster is a major breakthrough for drivers with every level of experience. For the new driver, it speeds up training and boosts confidence in the shifting process. A driver can master the transmission in hours, not days or weeks. It improves training quality, and it allows instructors to spend more road time on safety and other aspects of driving.
Normally, with an average student, it will take approximately 4 or 5 days once they learn the gear pattern to get used to the clutch for synchronizing the gears and stuff to shift. When we got the GearMaster, I started writing down some record, and in 2 days, they were better than the people who had been driving for 5 days. They just get the comprehension faster. They know what to do. They know what gear they're in. They know when to shift. It has just been something phenomenal as far as I'm concerned.
I've been teaching professional driving now for about 30 years, and it's been my experience that a certain percentage of the students in every class are not going to be able to grasp the concepts of shifting. But apply the GearMaster to them, they can instantly see now the relationships, and it turns their abilities around and helps them feel more confident behind the wheel.
Driving schools and training fleets across the country have become among the GearMaster's biggest fans, and they are training their drivers better and faster than ever before.
The GearMaster has been a great help to me in learning how to shift gears up and down. It's right there. You know exactly where you're going to go because of the way the digital readout is, and I really love it.
There's a joy in sitting in the right-hand seat and watching what I call watching the light come on. When someone who is frustrated and is thinking, I can't do this, this truck hates me, I just can't do this. And all of a sudden, oh, that's how it works, I can do this. And watching people do this with the GearMaster program, and all of a sudden they understood. All of a sudden, all this mechanical thing that I was trying to explain to them came together.
When I first started driving, I realized that it's just not the old clutch in the pickup. I felt very apprehensive, that wondering if I was going to be able to get this down, but with the GearMaster, it was able to lay it right out there on the screen to show you where you are, where your RPMs are, and when you're ready to go in that gear. I love it, and I hope I can take it wherever I go.
For the experienced driver, GearMaster is a stress reliever. You just have to drive it to believe it. It's like cruise control. You don't need it, but it sure makes life nicer. It's an aid to always driving in the best power range and maximizing your fuel economy. Many experienced over-the-road drivers who were at first skeptical have come back to us saying they didn't know how they got along without their GearMaster for so many years.
I've been involved with trucks probably since 1949, and I've seen a lot of things come and a lot of innovations, a lot of new things, air conditioning, air ride, and this stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, the GearMaster is one of the best innovations that has ever come along for the trucking industry.
I really love it. It helps me keep in mind what gear I'm in, especially not being familiar with a 13 speed, coming from a 10. So I know which gears are available to me, and I can shift and not grind the gears like we used to. And I thoroughly enjoy it.
I don't even look at the tachometer or speedometer anymore. I look at the GearMaster. It tells me everything I need.
The GearMaster has taken all the guesswork out of shifting. So now they can be a little more at ease, watch traffic around them, because they know when they get ready to shift, all they got to do is quick glance and put it in gear. And that's exactly what that GearMaster does. It works.
You can see that the GearMaster has advantages for all levels of drivers. The GearMaster is an investment that is guaranteed to pay for itself. It will improve fuel efficiency and reduce maintenance, repair, and downtime costs. It will enhance safety and reduce the risk of accidents. If you are a fleet, it will improve driver morale and satisfaction and reduce the costs associated with driver turnover. You know your costs. Just do the math. Thank you for your interest in the GearMaster.
Okay, let's wrap this up. GearMaster continuously reads your engine speed and your road speed and lets you know exactly when to shift. No guesswork, no jamming, no stress. It's a plus for drivers with 3 weeks or 30 years behind the wheel. It saves training time and training costs. It makes for happier drivers and happier trucks. It can cost less per day than a cup of coffee, and it is guaranteed to pay for itself. GearMaster. Never miss or grind another gear.